All right, good afternoon. It is Wednesday, November 10th, 2021, and here's what we're looking at for today. Really, prices were in a range for most of the morning, the overnight highs and lows, and we just had this sell-off starting at around 8:45, and if you were able to enter here, which this was a failed second entry long, if you can stomach swings like that, you might have been able to get like a 35-point move, but obviously that's pretty difficult for most of us. You can see this measured move, and we went past that, but then probably just made like measured leg down or something like that, and then we bounced. I don't know. So not too sure why we bounced there, other than it being 46.25. And I think I caught most of these trades. So let's go through it. We'll talk about these. So we were in this trend down in the overnight, and I was wondering if it was really just like a leg down, we get a break, and two legs down to a new low. That could be it, but this also looked pretty valid. So when we get this break and you get a first entry, second entry, you could go short here, but that was a 30 tick bar, but it is a second entry short after we had this like double test of this price level too. But that was at 5:30, I think, so that was a news announcement. I was waiting for it. I was like, okay, maybe we have a second entry short right here, and then it closed. I took it just because I'm on the simulator, but you're definitely not going to be doing that with real money. Now we made a new low, and then we bounced and formed some congestion up here, and I think this setup is decent for a second entry short. First entry, second entry, just because it looks like a trap. I got trap going long there, but look, you can't break above this, and so they're probably just loading up on these longs, and so when you get that really bearish signal bar, I mean, I think you can take that second entry short if you're looking at this correctly. Another reason is this. It looked like this was actually pretty close to a potential trend line. So there's a couple reasons why you might want to take that. And then why did I like this one? I'm not too sure. I think just because it's a double test, but I don't think you can. Oh yeah, and it's on this price level as well. So I'm not sure. I'm not sure if you should take that. I marked it for some reason, but I'm not really seeing why that is right now. But yeah, I think you can take this. I went long here too. I was like, oh, all right, I'll load up, and that's a higher low. Thinking it's a range day, I can take a higher low, and you know, another thing to keep in mind is this looks like we got a break and a move to a new high. So that's another reason to not go long right there. And then I took that as a failed second entry short. But that's, by that point, it's clearly congestion. Here you might say like, oh, well, it looks like we're trending up, but this right here is clearly congestion. And then you get a failed break out of the range. That's a nice signal bar. At least just take that to the top of the range. And then down here, this just looks like a double bottom. So I just like this for that reason. It's definitely aggressive though. And this just looks like a double top and failed breakout of congestion. So all of these trades are super aggressive. I think maybe I should delete this one. It's tough to say on this one, because it looks like maybe the area, the congestive area, is now like this big, and that would include this, so that makes sense. Because I was looking at that as a congestive area, and this is like a failed breakout. So I don't know, it's tough to say. And then you get a second entry long right here, which you might consider. it looks like it's off this trend line. I don't know if you can enter any of this. We'll see what Mack has to say. But yeah, I mean, I don't know about any of this stuff. I don't think you can enter this. These are just first entries. This is actually a second entry, but you don't get a new low. First entry, failed second entry. This looks like a new low, but I don't think it is, matter of fact. So these are all just like first entries, basically. This kind of looks like a failure, but look how far it is from the EMA. It's funny because if you stayed out of this market for the first 3 hours today, then you would have been in really good shape because it was clear where we were going after the first 3 hours of the market being open. So here I marked this. You get a first entry, second entry, but this is congestive, so I don't really like that. And then you get this third entry, but that's a better entry. So if you didn't enter there, you might consider entering there. This one's off the trend line. And then we get this break, and you get a first entry, failed second entry. I like that because we came really close to these overnight highs, and just all this congestion, it felt like we were reversing, and that gets you a scalp. And it's super clear that we're congestion, especially when we break out and the breakout fails. So when you get this first failed second entry short, and it's just like a higher low back into congestion, me personally, I like those. Might have taken you a while to get filled. Here, unfortunately, I'm not sure if you can enter on this. This looks like a really good entry, but it's like a... oh, and actually, you know what? Yeah, that's a failed second entry long, because here we have a new high. You get a first entry failure right here, but you're going in the EMA, you're going in the midline of that range. It just looks a bit too aggressive for me. Then here we get confirmation of that channel. So we get this new high, and you get a first entry, failed second entry. I think you got to take that. That ends up being a great move. And I don't think you can enter here. That's just a first entry. Oh, you could look at this as a new high. You can see that. So first entry, failed second entry, but this is far from the EMA, and you're going into the overnight lows. Here we get a first entry, second entry, but signal bar is no good. And then here, first entry, second entry, signal bar is trash. You get a failure. So at this point, we're not sure if we're... It feels like we're still about to be in a range day. So this feels like might be a failed breakout. So you might want to wait because, look, we just made this low and we're not making higher lows yet, really. But this is a failed second entry long. That's how I looked at it. You would actually go a tick above this bar, put your stop beneath this one. But then as soon as it breaks back in, they trapped all those longs, and you get a first entry, failed second entry, long, and you can ride this thing. Wait, really you could ride this one, but I got out here. I got out at the opening price, I mean. But yeah, another failure. You get a good move out of that. And it's pretty congestive here with a downward bias. So this is like a first, second entry. Once it ticks below this, but you don't get a signal bar. So when it breaks higher here and then breaks lower, if you're feeling aggressive, I think you can take that because we're clearly going down at this point. And here's our measured move of the overnight range. So you might take your profits right there. And this is just, now we're getting close to the bottom of the channel, so I don't like any of this. And you get this overshoot, and you get a first entry, second entry. So yeah, you might want to take that. I would say that's aggressive though, because this is a pretty sharp move up, and we got an overshoot. But then when you get this lower high, you can take that, I think. I wonder why I didn't mark. Is this? I probably would have marked this as red. I think just because it's above the EMA, I was just nervous that it would bounce. But then this is like, this would have to go below the EMA. I like that one better. Then you get a first, failed second entry, long right here, and you can enter on this signal bar, but your stop goes above here. And again, these are risky because we had an overshoot of the channel. You can see the midline bounce right here, and you get some touches in here. And so it felt to me like it was pretty clear that this was a midline. And then you get this bounce right here, first, failed second entry. I like this because it just, I don't know. It's counter trend, so you might not want to do that, but it just felt like we were going to test the top of this channel. This is all very congestive. I don't like it. And we don't make it to the top of this channel. When we come down here and bounce on that signal bar, that's just the first entry, but you might consider that. But really, you probably shouldn't, because look, lower highs, and the trend has been down. So probably not a good idea. This is all just congestion. But yeah, we knew, I mean, I had a strong feeling once we got the overshoot of this channel that we would get the break, and that's what you get right here. But you don't know how it's going to get there. Like, look at this. It came up short right here. And then, what do you know? It bounces off the measure move, and we get the break. So we'll take a look at my trades. I was just being so impatient this morning, unfortunately. Because, yeah, if I killed it on my practice account, I was on fire. I don't think I got a single one wrong. Oh, wait, yes, I did. But I ended up almost $1,000. So, yeah, again, I took this second entry. I would never take that with real money. 30 tick bar. Definitely not worth it. And then I went long here, but that's congestive. Stay out of that. Like Mack has said, you want rejection. So when I entered on this bar, we don't have rejection. And then I entered on this failure, but that's even more congestive. So just be patient. Wait for a perfect setup. And that's how you make money in this business. So I got to defeat my anxiety. I hope you guys are defeating yours. God bless. Have a great day. I'll be back whenever the market's open. I haven't even checked if it's open tomorrow. So tomorrow or Friday.